In December 2022, I wrote, shot, directed, and edited a short film that you might have seen. I just posted it. It's called Near and Far. And in March of 2023, that short film screened at the Toronto Short Film Festival and a few other places. This is how I made that film. Okay, so today I'm just going to talk about the lighting and a little bit about the blocking in this short film I made called Near and Far. If you haven't already watched it, it's on my channel. I might accidentally spoil it if you haven't, so I recommend going watching that first. It's only about 5 minutes long. So the entire film takes place in this one shot here in this kind of scene, and that was extremely intentional in terms of just like the mood I was trying to create and the feeling I wanted the audience to have while watching it. Let's just break down a little bit about how I achieved this lighting, because that's one of the things that seems to have a lot of people not confused, but you know, they really comment on how much they like the way this looks. And well, first of all, it helped having a really nice space. So the space already had like this really colorful furniture, these pillows, these curtains, and a lot of these tables. What I ended up doing was just bringing in a few lights and a few party decorations. All the furniture was already there. I didn't have to bring in any furniture, which was really nice. And actually there were already 2 lights built into the space, one above here, above our main character, and one along the same lines, just above, way up here, above the punch bowl that's right over here. And it was really nice to have those in the space because I did want a spotlight on our main character here, but I didn't want to have to rig one up there. So when I found out there was one there, it was pretty great. I drew a little map real quick about the floor plan here. So these orange things are, this rectangle is the sofa and this circle is the seat that this guy is sitting on, this guy right here. This is that spotlight that's shining on our main character right over here, and then this one here is the one that's shining in the rest of the floor here. You can really see the effect the light has on the floor if you see this harsh shadow just down here, and also these little pockets of like reflecting light just even on this cup here. These 2 cups, you see like this dark side against the light side, and overall it's just creating this really nice like harsh light on our subject here. So there's like most of her body's in shadow, and then even her face is in shadow, which is very intentional. And our, I guess, antagonist right over here is almost shrouded in darkness. So she has like all this light space in front of her, and she is just a silhouette, and it's exactly as intentioned. It's what I was going for, and I'm really happy it came out that way. So if we hit play, we can see that, you know, obviously the color and the lighting is changing throughout the scene here. And again, that's also very intentional. I wanted it to feel like a party, so you can actually, if you take a look at the curtains and even the streamers, well, the curtains were already that color, but the streamers were chosen to match, you know, like this pillow, that pillow, the curtains, and this punch bowl, for example, were all chosen to, you know, color complement the space, as well as the red cups. So there's lots of options for cups nowadays, but red I feel like is standard party, but also goes reasonably well with the couch over here. And as we hit play, you can see the colors change throughout those things from the light that we use. So in the corner behind the people over here that are partying, there is actually a small panel light right over here. So the people are just here, here, and here, and one more person here. There's 2 more people waiting on the sides over here that will come out and switch places later. And then our antagonist is right over here, and one guy sitting in the corner there. This little light right here, this is the Aperture P60C. It is a small panel light that is RGB WW, and it's doing a great job of illuminating the whole space. And part of the reason is because of this object right over here is actually a giant 5-foot wide reflector. So it's one of those 5-in-1 pop-up reflectors that's about 5 feet wide, and it's on the silver side, and the P60C is shining right into it, and this is illuminating the whole space very well. So we have these 2 spotlights, like we said before, both shining down into the main floor over here, filling this quite nicely. And then we have the P60C in the corner over here, and then the only other light in this entire space is this one over here. And this is actually a really small pocket light that is blasting a blue light onto our character right over here to give him some separation. And let's go see what that looks like. So right in the corner here, you can kind of see it, this like little outline of him right here. He kind of blended into the background too much, so we added that light there to give him a little pop. And he's the only other person whose, head you see, because I cut everyone else's head off on purpose. But you don't see too much detail in his face, which is quite nice. And the other thing that little blue light does really well is actually give our secondary character here a little bit of separation, as you can see, just like along her leg down here, and a little bit of her arm. And it actually bleeds quite a bit over into the dark side of our subject. So in the shadows here in her arms, you can see that little extra blue, and that light actually did really well for the size. It is a small light, I can't remember the brand, but if I can find it, I'll put it up on the screen. I bought it because I didn't want to spend the money on an Aperture MC light, and this thing was super cheap. I think it was like 30 bucks or maybe even less. And I'm just constantly impressed at how well it performs. So the last thing that helped achieve this overall look in the film is a fog machine. So just behind the people here next to the couch on the ground, there's actually a small fog machine. Let me go look at this map here. So it's just up here, it's a small little fog machine, and right before we would do a take, we would blast the fog machine for about 5 to 10 seconds, and then we would fan out the smoke so that it kind of gave a nice little halation as opposed to giving billowing smoke, because the last thing I wanted was, plumes of smoke happening throughout here, but I did want a sort of haze effect, and a hazer is way more expensive than a fog machine. If you, fan out the smoke, it does give an effect similar to a hazer for a short period of time, and that's kind of how I got this look, because normally this lens, which is the Rokinon 35mm, normally this lens is a little bit sharper, a little bit more crisp, and it doesn't offer a lot of characteristics in terms of like blooming and light refraction, but the smoke machine really helped with that. Also, what really helped achieve this look, despite having so few lights for the size of the space, or so underpowered lights for the size of the space, is the fact that it was shot on the Sony FX6. So the FX6 has a high ISO setting of 12,800, and that actually really helped with how dark this room actually was when we shot. Because again, the P60C in the corner here, these two spotlights that were at the top here pointing straight to the ground, and this tiny little pocket light blasting light this way are the only lights that are happening, and these lights here are actually like kind of underpowered for the space that we're using. And just again, I'm really happy with how this came out. I really like the way it looks. Just realized that the audio from my microphone stopped recording right as I was trying to say I'm really happy with my short film, and thanks to everyone who participated in it, and thanks for everyone who watched it. And thanks for watching this video. See you soon.